first say thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you today, to continue to share with you my conservative message. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who voted in the primary. I hope that you will remember to vote on July 13th, and I, of course, would love your continued support and your vote in the runoff. I think it's absolutely important when we send someone to Washington to represent us in Congress that we send someone who can not only identify what the issues are, but that can offer solutions to those issues. And I want to share with you today 4 things. These are our priorities and our roadmap for a better America. Priority number 1, we need to unleash the private sector so that we can grow the economy and put the 2nd District back to work. This legislation that we see handed down from Congress time and time again, cap and trade, which, by the way, talk about taking advantage of a crisis. With this spill in the Gulf, we see our president and his administration using this crisis as an opportunity to once again shove legislation down the throats of the American people that we have made very clear we do not want. Alabama stands to be the 14th most negatively affected state in the United States of America by that cap and trade legislation. And it is job-killing legislation. And then when it comes to health care, and you've all heard me say this before, what happened in Washington and what's happening in Washington with regard to health care has absolutely not one thing to do with health care reform, but everything to do with government takeover of our lives. What they are doing in Washington right now absolutely is not working when it comes to job creation. We have got to get money back into the hands of the taxpayer instead of taking it away. And we have got to relieve the uncertainty that exists from this type of legislation that we're seeing happening in Washington right now. And I submit to you, in my experience on the Montgomery City Council, I have fought for businesses. I have fought against tax increases that would negatively affect our local economy there in Montgomery. I championed a fight against a business license tax that would raise the fee that business owners would have to pay in order for the privilege of doing business in the city of Montgomery. And I would like to take that same common sense approach and that same fight to Washington to represent you in the U.S. House of Representatives. Number 2, in priorities. We need a leaner government. Our government in Washington is absolutely addicted to spending. And I have told you before, I am running for Congress because I'm absolutely appalled at what is happening in Washington. Our leaders spend and spend money that we do not have, and they are leaving an unbelievable debt for our children and our grandchildren. And it is absolutely time that we send leaders to Washington that understand that we have to tighten our belts at the government level, just like you and I do in our homes. I believe in lower taxes. I believe in small, limited government. I believe that we should live within our means. And those are the solutions to getting our country back on track. We absolutely have to send someone to Congress who understands this. And I'd like to share with you, in my experience on the Montgomery City Council, and my record will reflect that I opposed budgets throughout my tenure on the council that increased the size of government. And I'm proud to tell you, in 2009, with $0 in our reserve fund, I not only supported and voted in favor, but also voted in favor of a budget that reduced the size of government by $9 million, and we put $3 million back into the reserve, and we did it all without raising one single tax. Now, my friends, that was not easy. There were a lot of people that represent good organizations that contribute to the quality of life in Montgomery who were absolutely cut out of that budget because our number one priority in the city of Montgomery is about providing a clean, safe place for us to raise our families and to work. Now, we need to go look back to our Constitution and ask ourselves the question every single time, is this spending that fits within that document before we ever vote on earmarks or any other type of spending? And it takes guts to do it, it takes leadership to do it, and we need to elect someone who is not afraid to make that stand for us in Washington. Number 3, Washington is broken and we absolutely have to fix it. And what I'm talking about here is transparency and accountability and restoring the public's trust back into our government. We have to do that by requiring that legislation is posted for the public to review it at least 72 hours before Congress votes on a bill. Congress must state the constitutionality in every single bill under which they believe that authority exists to pass that legislation. Lastly, we need a stronger America, both at home and abroad. We all know in this room that we have 2 of the finest military installations in the world right here in the 2nd District. And Fort Rucker and Maxwell Gunner are the tip of the spear in our nation's warfighting machine. And we need to elect someone to Congress who absolutely will go to bat for our bases every single time. We also need someone who is willing to stand up and protect the values that we all hold dear. I believe in the sanctity of life, I believe in the protection of the Second Amendment, and I believe in the central role of faith and family in our lives. And I will take that fight for you in Washington. Look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Again, I appreciate so much the opportunity to be here with you today. If there's an issue that I did not address that you would like to talk to me about, please contact me or go to my website, martharoby.com. Thank you so much.